So maybe a little bit predictable.
Yeah, now there's a monster I'd like to run in my comp if I had him, is the Wind Indra. Here we go, folks. Semifinals, match one, set one at the RTA Season 35 Legend Tournament. We got Pooh versus Famicom. We're in the pre-ban right now, Toba.
We are in the pre-ban and we are taking our time in the pre-ban as well. There, 25 seconds to find that Nyx or the Dark Monkey, that pre-ban. And those are obviously very, very strong monsters. Dark Monkey, another monster that we haven't touched on here today, but is an extremely powerful monster. Having that skill 3, very consistent AoE stun with that cleanse block, so you can't even really counter with units like Juno, and also setting up that defense break. Also has defense break on the skill 2, so it can do a lot of damage.
Dude, 100%. And also, coincidentally, he works really well with the Nyx that was equally pre-banned. Venhan in the first pick slot is not surprising to us tonight.
No, it absolutely is not. It's a bit surprising to me that I'm seeing it come from Pooh, to be honest, though. I feel like this is a bit more just taken away from Famicom. I know Famicom has been a crutch pick for him quite a bit, but Pooh not utilizing that, as we didn't see it in his most pick nor most banned monsters.
And now we've got a race right here. We got both players racing for that first turn with high base speed monsters. We got the AoE strip in the Water Inosuke from Pooh. We've got the Shiho with that super high base speed for Famicom. And now he's debating picking the anti-Vio Fire Robo.
Well, it's not so much anti-Bio, it's kind of anti-Water Pig and anti-Indras here, because both of those, Water Pig, if you use that skill 3, you gain an additional turn 100% of the time. So that means Robo will be gaining attack power off of that, and same with the Vendon. If you go into that Thunderous State, you get the extra turn, and Robo does getting that bar as well as lower cooldowns on that. So I quite like this counter pick. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough if it just gets banned out here, as Famicom goes for that Annabelle that just signifies that he's going to be really assuming this turn 2 position here.
Love that take, dude. That's a really good point. Getting the guaranteed activations of the passive off these units. The way Pooh's picking is making me think that maybe he wants to get rid of it just because he continued to pick into that passive at the end. Seimei is going to wrap up Famicom's draft here. Let's see what these players choose for their bans.
Yeah, Seimei is quite a strong pick here if you are tanky enough to withstand this barrage, because I do believe that Fire Robo will be getting banned out, and I think Pooh will likely outspeed Famicom unless that monkey is extremely fast.
Let's see. We got 2 speed leads for Pooh. We got just one over for Famicom. He ends up banning out the Seimei, which is honestly a pretty safe choice, because Seimei can really just destroy everything you're trying to do if you're not confident in your damage.
Yeah, it definitely is, but leaving that Robo up there, that Robo is definitely one to watch out for here, as the Ashir was banned out, and neither or none of the 3 units that gained those extra turns, and maybe the Pontos on Violet. Now with the Ashir banned out, the Monkey actually does get the turn 1 here as well, and gets a stun on a Nemesis Pontos there.
So fast too, but like you pointed out too, though it can whiff. That Robos can whiff. It's rare, but it could happen. Let's see how much he does here.
Well, the Robo also gains activation rate on that passive when it activates, so it's actually 100% activation, which makes it very difficult for it to miss with a triple hit there as well. So he lands nearly everything. Both the Indras get a lot of their attack bar reduced there, as well as those immunities are gone. So we see the Robo actually even laps both Indras right now, and the CR is obviously going to cut in here. Designing a bomb target, goes for the Wind Indra instead of the Fire one there.
This is looking pretty good for Famicom so far. He's had a really strong start here, Topa.
He definitely has. I think the Fire Robo probably trying to stun that Fire Indra here now. Or does he just try and maybe confirm the kill on the Pontos? Doesn't get the stun there.
And here comes the Venhan turn. This is the turn that just decides the game. Let's see if he can actually get anything super meaningful. Only a few silences go out there.
No attack bar pushback on that monkey, meaning that it will outspeed the Pontos. Does get the silence, but the monkey still with the skill 1 actually managed to stun that Pontos, and Pontos out of the battlefield without really contributing much at all.
And that heal from Annabelle felt like the last nail in the coffin, Topa. This is looking pretty good for Famicom.
Yeah, this is really well drafted by Famicom. I really didn't like Pooh's last 2 picks there. He was kind of, with those last 2 picks, he almost had to ban this Robo. But given that Famicom had that last pick there, you can never bank on the fact that you can let the last pick through. As you know, we saw Famicom found a very nice last pick in that Seimei there that Pooh had to ban.
Completely forgotten about the bonus activation rate from that. Like, dude, that's a very good counter to some of the best monsters this season.
Yeah, it really is. I actually have that monster runed up myself. It can definitely be quite strong, but it also, could just be banned out, and then you almost end up in this weird, you're kind of in a turn two position. So very well drafted by Famicom there, still picking that speed with that very fast Shiho that now sees the pre-ban as we get into game two here.
Folks in chat already calling it the trauma ban. Yeah, the Shiho and the Ashir getting pre-banned out, so two extremely high base speed monsters. Hopefully, just denying that first turn options for these players.
Yeah, both players really want to take that turn one. We see, them really banning out those fastest monster or presumably fastest monsters on each other's side there, and also really just leveraging these base high or speed lead monsters here, as well as the high base speed monsters now on Famicom side in that Yan Hong.
And of course, the Robos back again. Oh, and here comes Pooh's Tian Lang. That's a really cool pickup against this because there's already so much bar being gained by Famicom.
Oh yeah, that is a phenomenal pick. I too am a Yan Hong owner, so I used to play a lot of this style as well. And every time you see a Tianlang, it's like, oh my goodness, like really? He has a Tianlang too. Like Tianlang is such a huge counter against everything that Famicom is trying to do right now. And we see Pooh pick up the Riley as well. Going for that little bit of turn two sustain. We've seen Pooh actually using the Riley a lot on the ladder, but I'm not really sure how well it does into the double bomb here.
Yeah, we'll see, especially because now I'd imagine the Dark Monkey King's cleanse block is going to get in the way of that. So now this is a tough spot for Pooh. What do you think he's aiming to ban, given that he's picking up Parjanya in that last pick slot?
Picking the Parjanya, I don't really know what you do if you're Pooh here, right? Because you're either getting outsped or you're getting cut by the Robo. So you really can't go for that turn one. So you probably have to ban out the turn two. But then what's the biggest turn here? Is it the Monkey? It might be the Monkey with that defense break as well as probably the most consistent stun. I think with the Monkey is gone, maybe your Parjanya can get a turn because I think Famicom kind of has to ban this Tianlang here.
Yeah, he's stuck between a monkey and a hard place. There's so many things. That's actually what I was going to say I wanted to ban was the Ciara, purely because the Parjanya, being a defense-based monster, really falters to bombs. So having that detonation unlock is kind of scary. But I think the Dark Monkey King's going to be tough, Topa.
Yeah, definitely is. As you mentioned, the Parjanya is that defense-based monster, but there are two bombers. The Ciara is not the only bomber on Famicom's side. And as well as, we have a very consistent defense breaker in that Dark Monkey there as well. So, maybe not the best pick there, but we see here, it's really interesting to see that the Tianlang was not banned out here, because now that Robo is actually not gaining enough attack power to cut in here, and Pooh does get a very solid turn one here. Now the Parjanya is looking to just control the entire team, and I think Pooh might just run away with this right now.
If he can land all these, all these provokes, and just like that, Pooh has established the same level of control that Famicom got in that first round.
Yeah, definitely has. I really just disagree with the ban on Famicom's side here, not banning out that Tianlang. I think Pooh was, between a hard place and a monkey, as you mentioned. I think he really had a difficult ban there, but then all Famicom had to do was really ban out this Tianlang. Either he outspeeds with the speed-led Yan Hong, or he cuts him with this Robo. Now with the Tianlang, the Robo doesn't gain enough attack bar, and, we saw here, once again, Famicom is in this weird turn 2 position where he's actually not really going to take a single turn here.
It's a tale of two games where people are picking into the counters. Oh, wait a minute. But now the monkey's getting a turn. Is this enough to capitalize on it? I think he has to take the heal here unless he wants to try and fish for enough damage on something.
Yeah, man, it's just really difficult. Once again, Tianlang just counters this so hard. You don't get that full attack bar in other monsters. Oh my goodness, Empire, you're gonna get in the violent proc out. Famicom had that glimpse of hope with the monkey violent procking out, getting the full team control. Parjanya responds right back, and the provokes are on Famicom's side once again.
Yeah, Famicom is getting good stuns. That Parjanya proc, though, that's what I like to call an expeditious proc. We already know that this game is being won by Pooh. It's just moving the game along. It's moving us along to game 3.
That I also wasn't the biggest fan of. I mean, in the end, the Riley didn't really contribute much to the team at all. It was literally just the fact that Pooh took that turn when the Parjanya almost solo controlled the entire match. From there on out, paired with the Tianlang defense breaks, that was enough damage to take off Famicom's team. But this time, both players will have their fast monsters, although Famicom does have that fast Yan Hong as well.
All right, chat. As we get into this third game, I want to hear who you're rooting for, Pooh or Famicom. Let us know. I see Pete's already voting for Pooh. We'll see what the rest of the chat seems to say. Pre-bans go out. The Dark Monkey King's down there, and Vendhan is down there too. I think that's good because now Famicom won't be tempted to ban it.
Yeah, it won't be tempted to ban it if he isn't in the draft. And now Pooh actually going back to this more normal style from him. Now that he doesn't have that Venton available, knows that Famicom doesn't have the Venton available either. So, he obviously going just back to this style that he knows. And Famicom also going back to the style that did him very well in that game one.
Thank you, Petra. Yeah, see, Famicom seems to be really comfortable playing this this Shiho Ciara. That's where he went to right away in the first one. We're seeing both these players return to their roots, as it were, to the very first round that we saw here.
Yeah, that they are. We also do know that Shiho with a 24 lead does outspeed the 28 lead Water Inosuke. So that's something to keep in mind. So if that Escher is banned out currently, and Famicom does, okay, this is just. I mean, I don't hate this. It's a pretty early Leo. It does counter quite well obviously the Wind Indra here. The Wind Indra cannot remove any buffs if the Leo is on the field. But there are two more picks on Pooh's side. So I would have liked to see this Leo as a last pick if you're going to be picking it if you're Famicom.
Yeah, it's like, Famicom really backed off with that. It's so funny seeing like the idea of body language in a pick ban, it's like you can really see a mindset swap from Famicom there with that Leo Bayek. But Pooh is right there, ready to answer with the anti-Leo Rakan.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Famicom, did pivot in this Leo. The first game went so well for him, and he obviously didn't have that monkey available in the first game either. That wasn't the pre-ban. So now that Pooh doesn't have his Vendon available either, I don't know why you're not really just doing the same draft as game one. I really would, the Fire Robo seems pretty good here. Maybe, he's super afraid of that TN line coming out, but now with the Rakan and the Riley, the Leo is still getting banned out. So this is unlikely to be a Leo counter Rakan here. And now the Riley does feel like it has a lot of value in this match.
Who duped us all? I thought it was a Leo counter for sure. I'm wondering if Famicom thought that the Shiho was going to get banned otherwise, because we know that it took that first turn. In fact, this time is no different. Super fast Shiho taking turn one, coming in to try to intercept that Inosuke, and gets it right at the end of the skill.
Yeah, but gets it, but there's no follow-up. We see that there's a Wind Indra moves right after, and the Riley is moving right after that. The Wind Indra getting a nice down on that Shiho, being able to remove that immunity off of it. Now the Bayek it kind of has to go on this Rakana here. Has to remove that immunity off of it, but then risks getting collapsed here. No silence lands. Can Seer land a bomb? It would be a tap broken bomb, but the stun is what matters here.
Exactly. You just want to deny Rakan the opportunity, and that Rakan is not going down, dude. He cannot be stunned. Here comes Pooh. He's just going to rip a straight up skill 3, already getting counterattacks. Dude, everything was coming up Rakan.
Oh, that's missed the provoke on the Bayek, which is quite huge as the Bayek does have skill 3 available that would get the heal, but then the Wind Indra just getting a random skill 1 despair stun on that Bayek right there, putting it down. And Pooh, why is he not using the, questionable use of not using the skill 2 there, knowing that it's only going to be one turn, so want to save it for after in order to be able to cycle back into that skill 3 faster here.
Man, right at the beginning of the game, you called it. The strip came out, the stun came out, but there was no follow-up. Famicom's going to have to put in some serious work here to get control back. Can Shiho's skill 2 be the way that he does it? Good stuns.
Very good stuns. They're landing 3 stuns when there are 2 wind monsters, and one of them being a Riley. This show's definitely going to be built on high accuracy, and that same is actually been keeping up Famicom's team here with that passive. Now Bayek not getting a defense break, but still Famicom's whole team is near full health.
I didn't even see any reses come out from that one.
Yeah, that Bayek just not having it. This Rakan is just completely immune to debuffs, it almost seems like, although it is sitting with a stun on top of its head right now, so that might not be the case. But that Wind Indra's doing so much damage, you almost just one-shot that Water Monkey.
Taking down the Rakan is actually a bigger deal than it seems, considering that the Wind Indra's got a bomb on him.
Definitely. Famicom is definitely in control here. He does get a skill 3 off from Shiho here as well. Just piling everything in that Wind Indra, knowing that that is the only source of damage left here. Riley does not have skill 3 available for the cleanse, but does get the immunity, so at least the Wind Indra is not getting stunned up here.
Yeah, and look at the heals from Seimei. The inevitability of this is starting to sink in, I think, for Pooh.
It definitely is. I really favored Pooh's draft coming into this, but I guess that Rakan just didn't really do enough. And the Seimei, once again, was such a huge counter to whatever Pooh was trying to do. If the Tianlang was a huge counter, Famicom's team last time, I mean, Seimei is just such as big of a counter to Pooh's team. Seimei is such a massive counter pick right there. Ultimately, Famicom was just tanky enough to survive the initial burst, and then Seimei healed his team back up.
Who's got to pull it together, because this is suddenly match point for Famicom at his first Legend tournament. That new blood is making a good show for us, I'll say that.
Definitely making a good show. Great show, I might say, going up against Pooh once again. We've been glazing Pooh here a little bit. He is the SWC 2025 champion and the previous winner in the Legend tournament. So no slouch here at all. And now we see Famicom pivoting his pre-ban a little bit, going with that Water Inosuke instead of the Eshira that we saw in game 2.
Oh, getting a really good speed lead out with the Water Inosuke pre-ban. It's funny that that's down there in the pre-ban, though. I did not expect him to value it that much, especially since we know how he performs. Famicom picking a Venhan for the first time, I think, actually.
Yeah, that is the first time Famicom is picking that Venton up, who has been stealing it all night long. Interesting to see. It's a bit weird, I guess, for Famicom. He's banning out that speed lead, and we know he likes to play Sierra, but he's not first picking Sierra now. And obviously, with that one less speed lead available, Pooh might be inclined to steal that monster. But Pooh doesn't really play Sierra, from what we see, and he does prefer that Fire Megumi, and that is his counter to obviously all the AoEs that this Venton does here.
Yeah, hoping to cut in, get a clutch little stun in there, or set up a defense break for some damage. Nice, dude. I love this. What Famicom's bringing is really intimidating. He's got some protection and a speed lead with Chandra. He's got the heal and the boost with Yanhong. So he can also strip with it. He's got a very tight 3 monster comp here.
I'm not sure how I feel about this Chandra over like the Sierra. Say he's been picking Sierra a lot. I almost would prefer the Sierra here, I think, because right now you're picking up a Chandra, but the Fire Megumi counters it so well. You have that AoE skill tree from Chandra. It's going to be giving a lot of attack power to Megumi, and any defense that you're putting out, Megumi can just hit that monster one time and defend is gone. So I think a Sierra would have maybe done better here. But either way, the Chandra has been picked up, and now Pooh all just pivoting back in this turn 2 play that actually turned out to be turn 1 in the game 2, where that Parjan did take that first turn almost and just provoked the entire team. But Famicom is now the one with Tianlang.
Whoa, he's been holding back all these monsters. And Pooh has a Liesel runed up for this? Oh my god, please.
Yeah, it does looks like he's taking back the Liesel here, going for the Annabelle, getting those heals as well as the slows, in addition to that defense break that Liesel would provide, but no pushback. And obviously no pushback means that Seimei is going to be getting a lot of value here. So might be looking to ban out that Seimei here.
I would reckon that he probably would want to ban the Seimei, especially after practically losing to the sustain that she brought in the last game. Obviously, yeah, Annabelle, way better last pick in this situation than Liesel. If there were like 20, if there was like 30% more fire units, I'd be down with the Liesel. But unfortunately, I'm not down with it here. There we go. Those were expected bans.
Yeah, definitely expected bans there. And once again, I do quite favor Pooh's draft here. I think he definitely has the resiliency to just get this Parjan to go off. And there really isn't a counter to this Parjan once again from Famicom side. Now he doesn't even have the Sierra bomb, right? Once again, if that Chandra was a Sierra, I would quite maybe favor Famicom's draft here. But with that Chandra there, it's obviously also vulnerable to this Parjan. There are no wind monsters, no cleansers, only somewhat counter the Parjana is this Tianlang with the attack bar boost. But I don't know.
Whoa.
I think Parjan just takes this game.
Lots of resistances from the Windra, but then Han procking out to rip a skill 2. Actually, maybe just do skill 1 here if you want. But I play this game pretty safe. I'm too safe sometimes.
Yeah, he's really just going for that damage. We actually do know Pooh famously runs 100% resistance on his wind inj right there and his pain dividends. A lot of these Windhans actually build on quite low accuracy. As you do so many hits, you're probably going to be landing anyways. We actually saw here that there was no landing coming out of that Windhan.
Yeah,
Indra is able to get skills off and stay in this match right with the sustain and the proc, and I feel like this game is already over.
Oh, and look at that. Pooh is healthy again. He looks like the game just started. Those resistances were crazy.
They definitely were. If that branding landed from the Benton, I do believe that the Wind Ninja would have died here, but alas, it did not land. The low accuracy Benton does not do enough here, and now we see Pooh is in full control, and Famicom's team is near dead already.
I'd have to watch it in a replay, but I was kind of surprised he didn't use Tian Lang's skill 2 to try to open up the team for Vendhand there. Because now we are at a game 5 in the first set. Absolutely crazy matchup between Pooh and first-timer Famicom.
Yeah, how exciting here. We're getting a game 5 right off the bat here, and these players have been pretty evenly matched, they've been both drafting quite well here, and just but even then, one player just seems to have a slightly better draft each time. So we haven't really seen RNG decide any of these games. So I think even if, Famicom does take that Wind Ninja out there turn 1, I think that Parjana still takes that game there. So while, those resists were impactful in making sort of sure that the Wind Ninja lives, I don't think it decided the outcome of that game.
Well said, dude. Yeah, I agree. I think if the Wind Ninja wasn't there to do the damage, then Parjanya could just control it. And that's what he was there for as well. So Pooh now following up with the Fire Megami and the Ishir, kind of an amalgamation of what we've seen from drafts past.
Yeah, we see a slight pivot here from Pooh. He was picking the Water Inosuke in the Fire Megami spot here, but now he finally learned his lesson here in the third time around, and that Shiho outspeeds your Water Inosuke. We saw it in the game 1, we saw it in game 3, and Famicom did win those games 1 and 3. And also, obviously, this Fire Megami does a lot better into this Leo.
Yep. And now we're doing this again. So we got the Bayek, we got the Leo, and the last time we saw this, it was a Seimei last pick from Famicom. Pooh did the Rakan here. We'll see if he wants to return to it, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Does he take the Rakan, or does he just go for full-on Leo counters here?
Leo, that's kind of hot. I like that.
Yeah, the Rakan is back. A Bellio instead of Riley this time. I'm not sure which one I prefer. The Bellio is quite weak to Sierra, right? The bombs can make good work of that. And Bellio overall does have less healing than a Riley would, but it obviously cuts in and can provide a lot more damage as well.
Yes, I like that he wakes up. I like that Abellio can cut in and he can wake up to heal everybody surprisingly, This is a tough ban for both players to be. Like, if I'm Pooh, I don't know what I value here, Topa.
Yeah, this is really tough. I mean, Seimei, Leo, probably one of those two again. And I'm really surprised to see that the Bellio is actually catching the ban here. I thought that this would be a ban on this Megumi here, or the Escher, because, if your Leo gets banned out here, actually, Pooh is going to be taking turn 1 here, and I think Pooh is going to full control Famicom here. Actually, well, maybe Seimei. Maybe Seimei can actually provide enough sustain here. Can he live this onslaught?
And let's see if he can outlive. This is the first time we've seen Pooh get that turn 1 with the Ishir. Here we go. We got the strips. Clutch stun on the Shiho. This is big. Now he can do some pushbacks and stuns. He gets the stun on the Bayek.
Interesting to see that he did not go for a defense break there. I think I would have liked to see the maybe go for a defense break, as his Rakan did move in front anyways, and he could have gone the provoke on that Bayek. So you see, the stun actually didn't really matter, as there was a provoke there anyways. If you got a defense break, I think you could have deleted the Sierra, but now Famicom's whole team is still looking very healthy.
Definitely apparent there, because in doing so, like you said, right, you're trading heals. You're allowing that team to stabilize again. So Pooh, he's got good tempo, but he ultimately just let the advantage leave with that. Let's see if he can confirm a kill on Ciara here with a defense break from the Megumi plus the Windra.
Oh, it has a very good rotation there. Seimei with that skill 1, giving that little bit of attack bar, that fire Megumi. Now moves it in front of that Indra. It gets the defense break on the Sierra, and the Sierra does drop. Bayek does have a skill 3 available here, so this Megumi might be gone here very soon as well.
Oh my goodness, doesn't even need the bomb. Both players down a monster. It's just a 3v3 showdown here on game 5.
Yeah, that it is. That was incredible damage coming at that Bayek. As you mentioned, didn't even need that bomb. Could have placed that bomb elsewhere, and I'm sure he's wishing that he had done that just now. But now Shiho does have skills available. And skill 3, looking to get that stun. Goes for the Escher to prevent the heals and speed buff from coming out.
This is not looking exactly guaranteed for either player just yet. That Seimei is providing a lot of value, so he's got to make sure to confirm these kills when he can. Look at that damage from the Windra Toba.
Winner is doing so much damage. This rune so well. So much damage. It's tanky. It's 100 resistance. It has accuracy. It has accuracy as well as it's landing a lot of this stuff. And now with the collapse, it's not quite enough. The Rakan does not get the kill in the Bayek. It's a little bit more healing coming out, but can he get the kill here now? The heal block.
And he's not revenging anymore. He could, any one of those attacks could have been a kill from Rakan, but he just was not. He was not attacking in. It feels so weird to not see an Indra attack twice. I'm so used to Vendhan. Every time he moves, I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna kill when it hits again. It just doesn't come.
And second, it just doesn't come. Shiho now confirm. Nope, does not confirm the kill on this Escher just yet. And Seesaw, he probably figured that both the Escher, actually probably Pooh's whole team would have outsped his Bayek right there. So can't save the Bayek, just goes for the kill on the Escher. And now the Seimei is struggling to keep out these heals against Wind Indra. It's doing so much damage.
He got a cycle here. He gets an unbelievable... He gets a stun on the unit. I did not think he was going to stun. That is typically how it goes. Nice little proc here from Seimei to refresh the skill 3 on the Monkey. This is actually a big moment here.
I think you actually can ride the Bayek. Yep, because the Bayek has skill 3 available. So this will actually just delete... I think you... Ooh, do you go for the Rakan?
You could... Yeah, I don't know. I would have done skill 3 to protect the Monkey because it's just purely because it's here. You know, it's gonna stick around.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, but the Wind Indra has a strip anyways, so it probably could have just the invisibility may have just been gone right away.
True.
So I think I personally do prefer that revive right there, but he unfortunately does not get the defense break on this 100 resistance Indra, which is why I was thinking, like, do you go for the Indra or do you actually go for the Rakan? But I don't think it matters in the end, as Monkey gets the skill 3 off, and that's going to delete this Indra, and there's no way, well, okay, never say never, but I mean, I don't think there's a way that Rakan wins this here.
I don't think so either, dude. He's got it, like, we'd have to see a proc, and there's no such thing coming out of that, and just like that, Famicom takes down Pooh, the recent SWC 2025